Okay, AI Elder, you're welcome to the first Pyrochure skills tutorial. And this is the Pyrochure skills tutorial for the After Effects, Adobe After Effects. So let's take a quick scroll towards After Effects. I'm going to go to my Start menu and I'm going to click on my Adobe After Effects CC 2014. And there we go. So it's going to take quite a lot of loading, but this is going to take quite a lot of time actually. Okay, not much, quite a lot of time. So let's move. So this is the Adobe After Effects, and as you can see, it looks quite confusing. Okay, I don't want to take this thing off, so let me just go as fast as I can. Right here we've got the first panel in which you get to see your animation, view, windows, help, layer, composition, edit, and more other files here. While on this place you get to see the colors of your videos or whatever this one means, and also this place you get to see and play your videos. You can select the frame rate of your videos, whether to play in 30 frame rates, 60 or 90. And right here you can find out your effects and stuff like that. A lot of effects. You can also add plugins to this effect and make everything look quite impressive. And also at this particular small place which we call character, you could actually edit your text with this character stuff. It only comes into activation when you're talking with your text. And right here you got paragraph to align your text and other stuff related to text stuff. And right here you get where the feed main place of your composition, where your composition really sets its first base. Now first let's try and create a new composition. So I have to select new composition. I think I'm gonna use just 5 seconds, or let me just probably edit it to 10 seconds. Okay, I hope you know how the sequence goes. Then this is the frame rate I'm using 1920 by 1080p. Okay, so on my advanced right here I can use the classic 3D or the ray trace 3D, and I can also use Cinema 4D as render, but I'm gonna just use my classic 3D. And if I want to make After Effects to be a 3D kind of render, I could just use the ray trace 3D, but I'm gonna go with the classic 3D. So I'm gonna press my basic and my 10 seconds frame rate, and I'm gonna press OK. So right here we've got a very good and valuable composition, which I think is gonna be quite useful. So today on Pyrochure skills tutorial training for After Effects, I've managed to teach you the basics. Why don't we go right over the basics? Now I could just press Option New. I could create a new solid. You know, yeah, I think I don't really like much of a black background. So the solid actually takes the color in which you want it to take, and I could just go back to layer. Click on the solid. I click solid settings. So right here I could change the color of the solid to green or any other color I wish to change it to. I could just pick this and select any kind of color I wish to select it to. And also I can make it a comp size, because this reason why you can make it a comp size is the fact that maybe sometimes the solid does not fit where the composition is and you need to make it the comp size. So that's it. And also the solid settings, I could just change them on my solid to tutorial 1. So I press enter and that's my story, tutorial 1. So let's just say that's just the base level. Now for it to get access to your real project, I would recommend you press this place, project. So right here on your project you can see a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of confusing stuff. And one thing about After Effects is that it takes time to learn. You can take months trying to learn it, or even years. Okay, it depends on how far you grab. Okay, because this stuff is very easy, though it looks hard and kind of stressful and kind of stuff, but it's quite easy. And I could take my time explaining this place, but we're going to make use of that later, so please look up. So now let's see how far we can go with this. Right here we got your comp 1. Every After Effects works in kind of composition ways. If you're trying other motion graphics app, it would rather work in those ways and would have better improvements with 3D. But what After Effects is mostly used for is in terms of motion graphics. The ability of After Effects to make quite use of motion graphics. So in short of everything, After Effects can be used for a whole lot of stuff. Right here you could access your effects. Look at this place. These are a lot of effects that you can actually access. Actually some of them are plugins, just like this one and this one too, and this one too, and this one. They are just plugins. Okay, why some actually came with it, like all this 3D channel, audio blur, sharpen, some came with it and stuff like that. So if you go to layer again, you can do a lot of stuff with your layer. The reason why these ones are very important is the fact that when you're working with Illustrator's files or Photoshop files in After Effects, in After Effects has Adobe Dynamic Link, which could actually help you to align your files in any way in any Adobe app. Okay, so when working with Illustrator or Photoshop files, this is one of what you're gonna be using. And this auto trace is being used when an image, when just trying to chase an image, maybe a vector shape or stuff like that, and make it to animate in the auto trace way. And also pre-compose is mostly used, to preserve the image. For example, if I made a very good kind of quality with a particular logo, like a kind of good motion graphic design with a particular logo, and I don't want to redo the same step all over and over again, I could just use pre-compose to pre-compose such logos, so that any logo I had in the place of that logo, all the same effects will be applied to it. So that's the issue of pre-compose. Maybe on the next episode we'll discuss mostly on related to pre-composing stuff in After Effects. Also in composition, we create new composition settings to adjust this composition setting. I could just change it from 10 to 20 seconds, change the 1920 or 1080p maybe to 720p. Sorry, not 720. Like I could just decrease the pixel. As you can see, there are a lot of pixels right here, but I'm not gonna decrease anything, and I can make my film in 2K or in 4K. Now please, I hope you know the minimum requirement for Adobe After Effects is 16 gig of RAM. Okay, but that's not even enough. Some files in Adobe After Effects can take up to 16 gig. They can even take up to 64, even 28 gig. So it's recommended maybe at least you have the minimum of 16 gig. Okay, so you can just manage that for now till you get to a very good, better part. And if somebody told you the fact that After Effects can't work on 4 gig or 8 gig RAM, I'm sorry. This can actually work, but it's gonna be limited in some kind of stuff. Okay, but at least you can still use 4 gig RAM to do some VFX stuff and also try some logo animation and stuff like that. But don't ever try to play your animation unless you just end up crashing your system. But once you've got 16 gig, you can still try and play some animation. Even 8 gig is still able to play some of the animations, but don't stress yourself too far. Just try and do the preview in a little bit. So now let's move to the preview part. Look at this down part right here. I could just reduce the size of my comp. Yeah, the size of my composition, as you can see. I think I'm just trying to adjust it. And right here also, we're going to be dealing with this mostly. We're going to be dealing mostly with this. This quarter full half method means the fact that you can reduce the stuff of your composition. Like, for example, if your composition has this kind of high quality stuff, it's going to make the After Effects loading to be quite slow. So in order to fix that problem, you're going to have to set it to quarter. When you set it to quarter, it's going to help you to at least make sure that the After Effects stuff is a little bit half. Okay, just make sure that the pixels are not taking much of your computing power and CPU. After Effects can use close to 5 gig of your CPU. Yeah, that's the way in which After Effects totally works. Okay, it can use a lot of CPU. So now for you to prevent that, you can just set it to quarter, to third, or to half or full. Don't set it to full, okay, and don't even set it to auto. Just make sure it's always quarter, except if you want to see the real preview, then you can set it to full. But once you are back to work again, set it back to quarter. And this active camera is going to be used mostly when you're using your 3D camera too. Okay, and what I mean by that is that when you click this and you click this, press new, you can see camera, you can see null object, shape, layer, adjustment layer, Adobe Photoshop file, and Maxon Cinema 4D file. Now you could add the text in After Effects. That's never a problem. Solid can be used to do this, as you can see on the screen. This solid is gonna be a place where you can apply a lot of effects, like your trap code, your 3D effects, like a lot of effects right here can mostly be applied to solid. Another one is light. This light is very good. Okay, the fact that most light is probably used in when you're lighting the part for that particular effect to follow, and also is used in association with mostly trap code. I don't think light has any particular use, even the false instance, but it actually has a particular use. Okay, and camera is just for 3D camera tracking. Okay, not only for 3D camera tracking, but for camera positioning. The way those logos come from the left view, right view, everything is actually being done through the camera. Okay, and also we also have the null object. So the null object actually does a lot of stuff, as you can see. It stores information of the file, maybe the part in which a particular stuff is falling. It stores information and allows other objects to follow in the same path again. And with the shape layer, you can create varieties of shape. Look at this. You can create the ellipse tool, the polygon tool, star tool, rounded rectangle tool, and more. And once you create them, you can apply the fill or the stroke effect. You can click on the stroke to adjust whether it's going to have the color or not, as you can see. So make the blending mode normal, screen, color, or dodge. So technically there are a lot of stuff we could do. I think I just want to create a shape. This is a shape, okay. I think we managed to create that. And if you want to delete your shape, you can just kind of just click it and press backspace just to delete it if you don't want to make much kind of, you know, stress. Now, so we've discussed a lot of stuff about the composition layer, but I think I've not finished my discussion on this. So null objects can be used to store information, shape layer to create shapes, adjustment layer is going to mostly deal with you adjusting maybe the way the stuff look, maybe your hue and saturation, give it a tint, give it a fractal noise, give it a color, give it stuff like that. Adjustment layer is going to do most of that job. And your Adobe Photoshop files is when you're working with Adobe Photoshop and you want to import them to After Effects and edit them and make them go all motion graphical. So let's say you're going to use Adobe Photoshop and your Maxon Cinema 4D file. If you don't have Elementor, it is actually very recommended for you. I think it's the ones with Intergraphics, so you can actually, you know, do something with Cinema 4. That means make your After Effects work in a 3D environment, and that's gonna be pretty cool. So let's say that's all about that particular part. So now, if you want to rename anything, you can just press Enter. Okay, like this. You click on the stuff like this, and you press Enter. You can just press, let me say, solid 1. And you know why would we have this kind of marker stuff? It's because if this marker stuff is to keep track of your elements. Okay, I wouldn't want to make a mistake, so I can just click on this and change the color to any kind of color and change it to orange, green, purple, brown. Now I think I'm going to give you a secret tip that you don't know. The fact that when you click on option on this, we got the enable auto keyframe or enable motion blur. In your motion graphics, you're going to be requiring motion blur most of the time, so you're going to take proper use of that actually and make sure that it doesn't waste much of your time. 13:27 Infinix so reminds you. That is, I think that should be all for now. This is the part 1 of the explanation series related to Adobe After Effects CC. Okay, so make sure you watch the part 2 and let's see how far we can go with this. So that's all. Thank you very much. And